You're listening to the Computer Repair Academy podcast, a show that's your go-to podcast for easy tech fixes, pro tricks, computer repair tips, and everything you need to keep your computer running smoothly. So if you're ready to upgrade your tech game, then let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Computer Repair Academy podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today we're diving into a problem every computer user has faced at some point, the dreaded slow PC. You know what I'm talking about. You're trying to open a program or browse the web, and your computer feels like it's dragging through mud. Frustrating, right? But don't worry, because today we're breaking down the anatomy of a slow PC. I'll walk you through some common causes, how to identify the problems, and most importantly, how to fix them. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to do to get your computer back in the fast lane. So let's get started. First things first, how do you know your PC is running slower than it should? Sometimes the symptoms are obvious, like programs taking forever to load or the dreaded spinning wheel of doom. Other times, the signs are more subtle. Here are a few things to watch for. Slow boot times. If it feels like you can make coffee before your PC finishes booting, that's a red flag. Boot times should be relatively quick, especially if you're running on an SSD. Lagging programs, applications freezing, or taking ages to respond. That's usually a sign that your PC is struggling to keep up with the demand or possible RAM issues. High fan noise. If your fans are working overtime, your PC could be overheating or dealing with resource-heavy tasks, sometimes in the background. Either way, it's not a good sign. Random freezes or crashes. A sluggish PC often struggles to maintain stability, which can lead to random crashes or blue screens, and no one likes seeing a blue screen. If any of these sound familiar, it's time to roll up your sleeves and start diagnosing the problem. All right, now that we've identified the symptoms, let's talk about the root causes. There are plenty of reasons why a PC might slow down, but here are some of the top culprits. First up, too many startup programs. This one's a classic. Over time, programs sneak into your startup list, slowing down your boot time. You don't need Spotify, Discord, and 5 other apps launching the moment your PC turns on. Next, low RAM availability. If your PC doesn't have enough RAM, multitasking becomes a nightmare. Modern systems need at least 8 gigabytes, and 16 gigabytes or more is even better for most users. Having fragmented or full disk storage can be problematic. A cluttered hard drive or SSD can slow things down, especially if your storage is nearly full. Old school spinning drives also need regular defragmentation to keep things running smoothly. Having outdated software or drivers can be troublesome. Running outdated operating systems, software, or drivers can create compatibility issues that slow your PC down. Always keep things up to date. Malware traffic and viruses are always a possibility. Malware is like kryptonite for your PC's performance. Even a small virus can sap your resources and leave your computer crawling. If your PC is slow and acting strangely, scan it immediately. And lastly, overheating can zap your PC. Heat is the enemy of performance. Dust-clogged fans or dried-out thermal paste can cause your components to overheat and throttle their performance to avoid damage. Now that we've covered some of the common causes, let's talk about some of the common fixes for these issues. Diagnosing a slow PC might feel like solving a mystery, but it's actually pretty straightforward if you follow a few of these steps. First up, check Task Manager. Hit Ctrl plus Shift plus Escape on your keyboard to open Task Manager and see what's hogging your resources. Look for programs eating up CPU, RAM, or disk usage. If something looks out of place, that's a clue. Next, let's disable unnecessary startup programs. Still in Task Manager? Switch to the Startup tab and disable anything you don't need launching at boot. Your future self will thank you. Let's also run a virus scan. Use a trusted antivirus program to scan for malware or viruses. If you don't have one, Malwarebytes is a great option. It's free and effective. Next, check your disk storage. Open File Explorer and see how much free space you have. If you're running out of storage, consider deleting unused files or moving them to an external drive or the cloud. If you're unsure of what files are taking up so much space, consider using a free program called File Tree Size to check into what's hogging all of your disk space. Lastly, let's check and monitor core temperatures. Download software like HW Monitor to check your CPU and GPU temperatures. If they're running hot, spray out your case with canned air, clean your fans, or consider reapplying thermal paste. By following these steps, you can pinpoint the issue and start tackling it head on. Now let's talk about some proactive tips to keep your PC running fast. All right, now you've tackled your slow PC. Great job. But how do you keep it running like new? Here are some tips to stay ahead of the slowdown. Regular maintenance. Clean your fans, update your software, and check for malware regularly. A little maintenance goes a long way. Upgrade key components. If your PC is still struggling, consider upgrading your RAM or swapping out your hard drive for an SSD. These are cost-effective ways to breathe new life into an older system. Stay organized. Keep your files organized and avoid cluttering your desktop. It's like tidying your room. Your PC feels better when it's neat. Use lightweight software. Choose software that's efficient and doesn't hog resources. For example, use a lightweight browser if you're on an older machine. Follow these tips and you'll save yourself a lot of frustration down the line. And there you have it, the anatomy of a slow PC. We've covered the symptoms, common causes, and how to diagnose and fix performance issues. Remember, a slow PC isn't a lost cause. It's just a cry for help. Thanks for tuning into the Computer Repair Academy podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who's dealing with a sluggish PC. And as always, keep your machines clean, your storage organized, and your software up to date. Until next time, may your boot times be quick and your fans be quiet. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Computer Repair Academy podcast. Until next time, keep those PCs running smoothly.